Hello there and welcome to Forza Horizon 5, and I know what you're thinking, it's not Friday. How could it possibly be a new video? Are you actually being organised? Well, sort of. I had the opportunity to do some recording, so we're going to try and get halfway on the series, or the season. So we've got the Ferrari F355, which is the car we need for a weekly challenge. Thankfully we won it as part of our challenges last week. We need to get it to 290 k's an hour. We're so close. We're gonna hit it just as we hit the horizon. There it is. Just before we hit the special zone. Let's see if we can just hold it through the speed zone, shall we? And enjoy the neon lines of the Retrowave drive. This thing is screaming. This is, yeah, you can reach 290. Just. I feel they could have made that a little bit of a lower target. 290 something. There we go. Awesome speed. We're not really racking up much in the way of skill points there. That'll do, I think. What's the next step? So the next task is to win a road race, and we'll see whether this counts. I have my own blueprint at the Player Azul Circuit node that is a coast-to-coast sprint versus no other opponents. It's meant to be more of a time trial. See, there's the Colossus, which is the large road race. And I felt it a little bit wrong that it doesn't have a big motorway segment. So the thing that we just did, essentially, we'll now have to do again, but in reverse, to race across to the other side of the peninsula. So it's another just long-distance road race. But I quite like the course that I laid out. It's taking a bit of a scenic drive along the coast, and then working our way through to the motorway on-ramp, or to the road that turns into the motorway, I think. Almost missed my turning. Completely missed my turning. As is often the case with this sort of thing, I have not raced this car yet, so I have no idea how it handles. Not brilliantly, but also I completely missed where I was supposed to brake there, so that one's on me. Work our way through the farms. What camera view do we want? That one's pretty nice, between the pop-up headlamps. Otherwise we can appreciate the lines. I think we want to do that. It's a nice car. Ferrari's always nice to look at. That said, the noise is going to get a little bit on edge. Much like what we were finding just before. It's going to be whining like an angry mosquito. And it's a little bit more muted when you're inside the vehicle, so let's appreciate that, shall we? The sound dampening is not amazing. The speedo goes to 320, that's ambitious. I was struggling to do more than 295. I guess under some other conditions. This hasn't been tuned at all, this is just an A717 I think it is. So pretty stock. I forget how long I made this race. I was also thinking I should probably have put drive avatars in, but at the same time, I don't know, it's nice to just go for a drive by yourself. No traffic, no AI to worry about pushing you off the road. I think you won't get as many points or credits for not beating the AI, and you certainly miss out on the chance to get like overtaking skills and things like that. But you usually only get them for the first segment, and then you're pretty much on your own a lot of the time. We are almost hitting 300, so that's cool. We don't get the speed zone, but we do get an ultimate, oh no, not quite ultimate speed, still just awesome speed, but we got ultimate clean racing, that's what it was. Not quite enough to keep the thing going, is it? Maybe at this point it's enough to actually keep the combo going. Nope. Spoke too soon. It kept going further than I thought. Awesome speed. 2 awesome speeds in a row. That's weird. I guess one was cached. I'm not sure whether or not the ultimate clean racing skills are based on where you are in relation to checkpoints. Whether it's a case of you have to pass X number of checkpoints cleanly to get it. Let's see if we get another one soon. Yeah, there we go. So it's just after that checkpoint. So what I'm thinking is that in future, we get another one after this checkpoint. Great speed. There's an ultimate clean racing. Came a little bit later than I expected though. But maybe if I'd put more checkpoints down closer together, maybe you could rack up the ultimate clean racing skills a lot better. Not when you do that, you can't. I didn't miss the checkpoint though. There you go. I'm just getting more skill points, that's all. That was terrible. Just as well I don't have opponents. There's no need to rewind when you're not having to worry about falling behind anyone, right? I don't even know if this is going to count as a win, per se. Is it a win when you're not racing against opponents? I think it technically is. So we had the motorway segment, and now we cross back through to run down the runway into the actual Horizon main area. Whatever this bit is called. I forget the actual term for it. And we do a little bit of a through the back lot sort of racing. That's going to kill my combo. We give the crowd a little bit of a show. Just stop to do some upgrades real quick and get some better tyres, maybe some better brakes. That would have been wise. Never mind. And off again. We don't climb the mountain or anything like that. From here we just race through to the dunes. So we've already done a bit of coast to coast. Kind of flirted with the western coast before backtracking into the festival grounds. Now we work our way through to the dunes. I was tempted to try and work in each of the festival zones. At the very least, probably should have started from the Apex one, or gone south to the Apex one first. And then through the street scene. The street scene's just off the side of the motorway. And then go through the wilds up here as well. But at a certain point it's like, nah, that just stretches things out a bit too much, and I wanted it to still be more of a pure street race rather than going off-road for the wilds area or the Baja. Whoop. Yeah, he says going off-road. Never mind. Cut through the golf course up here. Don't mind the weird squiggly line on the route map on the GPS. Clearly, when I was setting the track, I also didn't do a very good job of that corner. I also made sure to put the flags down in such a way that you can cut the corners a little bit, and you will still be inside the checkpoint, rather than it just being on the road. It's like, you know, you should be able to cut just a little bit of the corner off, right? Didn't put one like on the apex there, because that would just be cruel. But at the same time up here, I didn't want to just run along the straight. So we have a forced deviation up here. We actually put a barrier in to advise that you have to go round past the house. It's a player house back there. Through the neighborhood, and out the other side. It's my sole concession to additional props being put in, is that barrier across the road. I pretty much didn't bother anywhere else. I didn't want to make it just another one of those tracks where it's just big grandstands thrown in with massive buildings for no good reason. But could have put a few extra grandstands in, I guess. And nice reverse through here. Cut through the dunes. There's a couple of races that go southbound along here, but I'm not sure there's many that go northbound. I was tempted to do the little off-road bit back there as well. And then I think I got to this point and I had more checkpoints that I could feasibly place. I think you can place a maximum of 50? Rings a bell? And I was at like 43 or something, so okay, we'll go round the block. We won't turn left straight into town. We'll go up here. And then we'll race back along the coast. And through the town. I should have put the checkpoint just on the other side there, but so you can just run that as a straight instead of a corner. And we crashed just before the finish line. Didn't even put any grandstands up by the finish line. That was probably a mistake, but never mind. And here we are. Under 10 minutes. Not bad. Unfortunately, that didn't actually count as winning a road race, which I guess is fair enough since there were no opponents. So we'll do a quick sprint of 3 laps around the desert, since it's around where we finished anyway. And we'll just have to make this do. Unfortunately, all of our opponents are probably in much better cars. I still haven't tuned this. I was right by a player house in the town. I should really have tuned this, but thankfully this track does have some good corners that you can cut as a human driver. The AI won't, generally, but you can take some liberties with some of these bends through here. Like this, we can just basically treat as a straight until it gets to this part of the bend here. Now we have to go a little bit wider, and then we can turn in, but we can turn in much sharper and just take all these guys on the inside, essentially. And we should be able to do the same with these 2 guys up here. Just cut across here. They take up way too much of the road. Put ourselves in a much better position to brake and take this corner. Bit of a wider runoff. Nice Porsche in front. Not surprised he's doing well. Run a little bit wide there just to keep some speed. And now we just, cut the corner blatantly there. This one's a little bit tougher because it is more of a right angle at the end there. Kind of shuffle between the brakes and the accelerator just to keep some power on. But now we're in front, and unless we have a monumental cock-up, we should be good to go. Once again, cut it nice and tight on that bend. One more lap to go. And we set a pretty good split time there. 55 seconds down from 59. So now it's a case of can we do better? Brake heavily there. And can't make it a clean lap, unfortunately. Messed that one up. Thankfully, the change in road surfaces when we cut the corners like that doesn't really affect us in this game. So, which is a little bit of a have, but it would be a little bit nice if there was some kind of wheel spin element if you drifted off the main road in a car that wasn't kitted out for it. Because the wheels on the side should be losing traction. But I'm just as glad as that's not the case. And there we go, just under 3 minutes that time. And now we just have to take a photo of it, apparently. So that's a little bit, kind of underwhelming to finish off with. There we go. I'm not going to pose anything special. I'll photograph the 97 GTO at the telescope. We can do that next as well, since we're currently on a photo tier. Not sure what sort of angle they expect us to get with this. Does this count as having the telescope there? Yes, good. Okay, that's that out of the way. We didn't have anything more to do with our Ferrari, but I believe we do have a few things that we can do with the GTO. Don't be fooled, this is the same car, but we souped it up a little bit and painted it. We needed to make it... Oh god, this is a terrible track. This is an Event Lab one, so it's just all over the show, looks like. It was a retro sports car category, which the GTO is, but it needed an A rating, and it was only a B stock, so I've hotted it up. Now, it was presented as a dirt track, so I gave it off-road tyres and rally springs. Turns out it was actually paved the whole time, but never mind. It's presented as a dirt track, but using street racing checkpoints, but predominantly on tarmac, and it's like a circuit. So I'm confused. I think it's got some identity issues, but that's fine. That's all good. I do kind of like the aesthetic, the Aztec ruin sort of aesthetic with the big entryway and exit. That's kind of cool. I think maybe a little bit more could have been done with it. Maybe if it wasn't presented as a dirt track too. And I didn't realise I wasn't going to have any opponents, otherwise I wouldn't have cared nearly as much about making sure that I did have the off-road tyres and rally springs. I'd have kitted it out just for racing for more future use. But never mind, that's alright. That's just another kind of 10 grand that went to those that could have gone to something else. Not a big deal. Hey, there might be future events where I do want to use this off-road, and that's fine. Standard off-road tyres, as long as they're not the off-road race tyres, do manage to do pretty well on tarmac as well. They don't kind of mess with you too much. And rally springs, honestly, I often put on cars for racing anyway. It gives you all of the adjustment ability, so you can adjust the ride height and everything with off-road suspension. It's just defaulted to being jacked all the way up. You can drop it down if you want. You can adjust all the stiffness values and stuff. It doesn't have to stay all soft. So it gives you the same freedom. But it often drops your car rating instead of increasing it. So, or it doesn't increase it by as much as the race ones would. So, you know, it buys you some extra points to put into performance. Oh, that was a bit of fun. Short and sweet. And what better way to finish than with the Showcase Remix for this month. I don't think I've done one of these since I did them originally in the game. But we really go off the rails on this one, as you can see. And our chosen car for this is the new Lamborghini Countach that we won last week. You don't actually have to have one though. You don't need to own it. It just puts you in it. Which is always handy. You get a chance to pick up some points regardless. Now that train you may think is going way too fast. You would be correct. Most of these events are scripted. You race a train in 4 as well, into Edinburgh. You also race a hovercraft. In this there's a couple of others. There's like monster trucks. I think a plane as well. Are meant to be the, funnily enough, showcase events that show off the Horizon event as being just bombastic.
I'm not sure if we're allowed to be dropping carriages, but it's certainly going to give the engine an advantage.
Yes.
Oh, yeah? See about that.
Disconnecting all of his carriages in order to shed weight and go faster. It's largely scripted that you'll cross paths along the way until you get to close to the end. So he has to go round the outside, we go through a tunnel. It almost feels so weird going through here as well. It's like we're moving in slow motion. And all of a sudden he's managed to zoom around. Going much faster than any train should be allowed to. I can't remember the original car that you had for this. And I'm fairly sure we also don't have to win. Oh, all of a sudden he's going slow. What's all that about? It's programmed to be close. I think we actually lost. No? Okay, apparently we came first. Pity point, I feel. And with that, we're now halfway through the season. We've got our Lotus Esprit 1980, which we can then use for a lot of the remaining championship events, such as driving any car from the 80s for the daily challenge there, and I believe decade 1980s, decade 1980s. So that's to look forward to in a few days' time. For now, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.